What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be one of those videos that's just so important. I try to cover a lot of transparent, controversial types of content and topics because I really do want to expose both sides of the coin, and that is pun intended. A lot of people don't want to talk about this stuff. A lot of people think they can't talk about this stuff because we are headed into a new day and age where YouTube will censor your content. They will purposely not promote or not recommend or straight up just ban your channel, demonetize it, whatever they can, because the truth should not get out there from some people's eyes or perspectives. I'm not talking about YouTube particularly, but when we're talking about something that's exposing the financial system, exposing the government, the corrupt system that is brainwashing, that has been destroying the economy and misleading or giving false type of or very specifically worded types of material and content out there to sway the reader's opinion or shift their decision making into their own agenda can be very dangerous. And that's why I want to talk about this topic. So I made a video a couple weeks ago titled, or it was something about YouTube banning silver stacking content, censoring the silver stacking community for that same exact reason, because we expose the financial system. Because I'm telling you guys that the dollar is worthless. We are $29 trillion in debt. The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power. You need to take the power away from them and put it into your own hands, right? When I'm talking about all that stuff, I'm exposing things for what they really are. But do you think they want that information to get out? No. So it's not really YouTube, like I said, in particularly, but there's definitely a censorship going on. Their whole thing with Joe Rogan on Spotify, same type of situation. He's censored as well. So that leads us down to this topic. Other types of not only just businesses, but people that invest, people that have a following on social media, or whatever the case is, when they're posting these articles or going over this type of information that stackers could get a hold of and that I've covered on my channel, they will purposely sway the situation or the information to mislead the reader. And I've covered several of these articles on my channel where I'll be covering one of these articles, right? And sometimes I don't even know that it's happening. And then while I'm reading, it dawns on me like, whoa, these guys are slipping in certain words or just blatantly just giving false information. But it's usually headed around stocks. And of course, I mean, think about it. Silver is a direct threat to the US dollar. They are exact opposites. Exact opposites. When the dollar index is up, silver's down. When silver's up, the dollar's down. The dollar index and silver are complete enemies. I mean, polar opposites. So, when I'm in anything that's headed with a or integrated with a centralized banking system is pegged to the dollar. So stocks, yes, pegged to the dollar. Crypto is decentralized along with gold and silver. There's no central bank in control. There's no bank of Bitcoin. There's no Bitcoin police. There's no silver police. There's no bank of silver. I mean, banks have silver, well, in a sort of a sense. But regardless, gold and silver are complete opposites from the dollar. So you could see why, if they're trying to bring faith back into the dollar, which is the only reason the dollar has value, is because people think it does. The second people don't think the dollar has a value, it literally won't, which is worrisome in the United States because the USD is the world's reserve currency. The entire world relies on the dollar's strength. So when people see, and this is the funniest part about these articles, is if you're looking realistically, okay, let's say I never invested in the silver, but I knew economics, I knew markets, and I knew how things affect the price of assets or investments. Let's say I'm talking to someone, right? And they ask me, should I invest into silver or should I invest into stocks? And then they asked me, what's for the next decade, what makes more sense? The guy already has a biased opinion because he's investing into stocks, right? 99% of people, right? The businessman, suit and tie guy on Wall Street. He would sway that person to think that stocks are a better investment. But he knows, and if he doesn't know, he shouldn't be a financial advisor or helping anyone with finances anyways. Because if you look realistically at what the economy is doing, where it's headed, looking at interest rates, looking at the silver shortage, looking at everything, which all affects the price of silver and affects the price of stocks, then you would be incredibly lost to say that stocks have more potential than silver. Nobody can debate that. Silver benefits when the dollar is collapsing. Silver benefits in times of economic turmoil. Silver benefits when the economy is recovering. Silver benefits when there's a silver shortage. There is a silver shortage. Silver benefits when we are heading into this new 5D digital electric vehicle, photovoltaic cell, solar panel era, and there's less and less silver, but the demand is going to keep rising, and there's a direct correlation between the demand of silver and the price rising. But stocks, what are stocks going to do? Stocks are pegged to the dollar, so if the dollar's collapsing, so are stocks. How in the world, and they know this stuff, they know this, they're not stupid, they know this. So, but you got to remember, they invest into stocks. They don't like silver. Most people that are in big business, they are more pro things digitalized, and for obvious reasons. So if someone asks that guy that question, he's going to sway the answer into a way that person that asked thinks that stocks would be a better idea. And you see it time and time again. You see it time and time again. Even within the silver market, you'll see people a lot of the time push ETFs or ETPs, which is just a digit on a screen, right? You'll see a lot of mining, and it's sad because those people definitely know silver's intrinsic value, how much more important it is to own the physical metal compared to, the theoretical level. And they still push that narrative on people while they're probably buying thousands of dollars worth of physical silver themselves. If you cannot hold it, you do not own it. If you cannot hold it, you do not own it. Theoretically, you own it, but let's look at the COMEX. When you have a contract on the COMEX, you theoretically have that ounce. It's supposed to be stored in some vault somewhere, but we know that's a lie because the demand or the contracts on the COMEX does not equal or equate to the amount of physical silver in the world. That's why if everyone on the COMEX tried to turn in their contract for physical delivery, we would be put in a situation where the silver shortage's true nature would be exposed. If everyone on the COMEX turned in their contracts, everyone would finally see that all this silver that is shown on the COMEX is not all there, especially when you incorporate the industrial sector. That's just investment demand. The COMEX is just the investment side. But guess what? Most of the silver demand is from the industrial sector. So including that perspective, no. So those people that own or think they own that ounce of silver on the COMEX, guess what? They don't own it, but you know who does? That ounce that they think they own is actually in my safe. That ounce that they think they own is actually in your safe. The only people that actually own that ounce of silver are the people that physically have it in their hands. The Hunt brothers was a prime example. The Hunt brothers owned up to 77% of the global silver production. And yes, you heard me correctly. They owned up to 77% of the entire world's physical silver. Three brothers, billionaires. How did they do this? 77%? Silver Slayer, that's not right. That was 40 years ago. Silver Slayer, that's not right. It was. You know how they did it? They bought up all these contracts on the COMEX and then turned them into physical delivery. They went digital, bought up all the contracts, and turned all those contracts in for physical delivery. Where would they store all that silver, by the way? I always wondered that. But anyways, the proof was shown because guess what the government did? And imagine if three people owned 77% of the world's silver supply. Imagine how bad that would be. That's only 23% left for the world. And that amount of silver would not be able to make the world go round. And that would have caused a major, and I mean a terrible situation. And the governments knew that. So they banned silver. You couldn't buy silver on the COMEX. You could only sell it. And you couldn't sell it to friends or family. You had to sell it to the government. They banned silver. Literally. You couldn't buy silver. You literally couldn't buy it. It was banned. And that obviously forced the Hunt brothers to sell, crashed the price, and then it led into Silver Thursday when the price dropped back down from $50 when the Hunt brothers did that down to $9 again. But why did the government do that? Because there wasn't enough silver. And there isn't still, and it's only gotten worse, and silver is needed for much more things now. I mean, we've advanced times 10 since 1980. And thinking in 40 years from now, how advanced we'd be and how there's not even enough silver for the next 10 years. Imagine in 40 years from now, how much money an ounce of silver could be. I mean, by then, it would be extremely rare if it isn't already gone. I mean, by the year 2030, literally we'll have run out of silver if we're looking at the above ground supply versus the below ground supply versus demand. I mean, there's literally not enough silver. So what would be happening is that people like you and I that have this silver would be putting it back in circulation by selling it, unless they're going to find a new way to get silver out of the ground or in space, which is also kind of realistic. But I've covered that before. But regardless, the point is this. Silver is timeless and it's valueless. And they're going to keep pushing this narrative that and coming back around to that guy that's writing the article that I always expose the crap out of. He's going to make it seem like silver is a riskier investment. He's always going to try to compare it to gold. And then he's going to go into gold's cons, right? They never talk about the pros. They only look at the cons. And then gold has a lot more cons than silver, just because silver is the best of both worlds, right? Silver's if the economy is in good or bad shape. So they're only going to focus on gold's bad shape, and then they're going to take gold's bad shape, transfer that to silver, and then show the riskier side of silver, which is the more volatile side. But they'll skip the pros of gold and the pros of silver, which are a lot more than gold. They never give context. They'll say something and never give context. And that's time and time again when I expose these articles from these people doing this, bringing fake news or misleading information. Every single time, they leave out so much context. They'll say something, but they never explain what they mean, and they do that on purpose because if they did explain what they meant, then what they would be saying is contradicting. It would be written off. And that's why those videos are so fun to do, by the way. I mean, it is so funny, some of these articles that I've exposed. It is so funny. But anyways, I just want people to know that. And then it can go as far as information you get on a day-to-day basis. Last week, there was 2 articles written 2 days apart from each other. One was talking about how silver is about to explode in 2022. The other article, written 2 days later, was talking about how silver is going to crash in 2022. Both articles, written 2 days apart, talking about explosions or crashing. Now, let's say one person only read the crashing article. They would think that silver is going to be a bad investment for 2022. That could affect and will affect the way that they invest. Let's say another person only read the explosion article. That would dramatically affect the way they invest. You see how just because you read something doesn't mean that that's always the case? Those two people reading those two separate articles would have dramatically different perspectives and outlooks on the way they invest because of the information they got. And that's why I do try to cover articles, even if it's not always rainbows and unicorns, but the market isn't looking like it's going to be, rainbows and unicorns. I'm not going to always portray it that way. Yes, there's silver price manipulation. Yes, silver prices are rigged to some extent. Yes, I don't think it's going to last too much longer. That's a whole separate video itself. But regardless, just make sure you're coming from sourceful, channels of information, and always do your own research. Always do your own research as well. So yeah, I don't know. I really wanted to talk about this because I do see it becoming more and more of a problem, especially as silver becomes more mainstream and as people find it as a safe haven. You're going to see more and more articles. You're going to see newcomers coming in that don't know the truth, that could get influenced by those articles that are just completely misleading, and that could definitely be detrimental to their stacking strategy or push them away altogether. And I want people to know the truth. I want people to be brought in and stay here because silver stacking is definitely the way to go. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was 1, educational, 2, informational, 3, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. I post 2 videos daily, one in the morning around noonish, the other one probably after, evening, probably the first video probably between like 10 to 1, second video probably around like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8. So always stay tuned. I got y'all. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Definitely want to be subscribed to do tons of stuff. Giveaways, unboxings, daily videos, anything you name it. It's going down on this channel. Interviews, question and answer, Q&As, whatever. 2022 is going to be a huge year. Huge year. I'm really excited. Hope you all are there to hang out and hop on this ride with me, because we're just going to keep pushing. I strive to innovate the world of precious metals. That's my job. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.